Hi, Minasan. Here we are back with Ace Attorney Investigations, Miles Edgeworth. And let's get it started, everybody. I'm so glad you guys like this series, and totally, I'm going to be trying to play every Ace Attorney game, so we're going to try to crank it out. And let's get it started. I didn't save, did I? Oh, yeah, I did save. Okay. Oh, God. March 14th, Prosecutor Building, 12th floor hallway.
What's with that, Prosecutor? I can't believe how rude he was. It was unbelievable.
I feel like I change Gumshoe's voice every single time just because I can't remember what I used. Male voices are not my forte, guys. Please do not expect me to actually keep male voices the same every time, besides Miles. I can probably keep Miles the same. That's just because I'm using a British accent. That sounded Italian, didn't it? Alrighty. Alrighty, well, let's actually start playing the game. Please maintain your professionalism, detective.
I'm gonna find some real solid evidence proving Maggie's innocence. You'll see, sir.
But we've been kicked out of the crime scene, sir.
So then, what now?
Looks like my life's fallen into another gigantic ditch. Do not despair, Miss Boyd. We can overcome this as well. There are many other places and things we should be looking into anyway.
Really, sir?
For example, this hallway. The linchpin of his argument against Miss Bride is related to the master key. In that case, this hallway is the perfect place to look for more information regarding the mystery surrounding my door.
Begin investigation! Let's do it!
I'm gonna go over and show you guys a lovely little Easter egg here.
Look at it!
I'm sorry, I really want to do his voice well.
It looks like you're in quite a pinch, Mr. Edgeworth.
To be sure, murder within the walls of the prosecutor's office is no trifling matter. You must find, apprehend, and punish the killer accordingly, post haste.
Sounds like a messy case you got on your hands. If you ever feel lost and need advice, my door's always open.
How gracious, I'll keep your offer in mind. Guess what? Who is this guy anyway? You are good, Edgeworth, to not know who that man is. We don't need to know. Alrighty. So let's actually do something relevant to the case and not like lovely Easter eggs. I won't rest until I've investigated every suspicious nook and cranny.
Isn't that what the missing Zero Series file, sir?
No doubt about it. The bloody letters mark it clear as day. There seems to be a few pages missing. Our thief took only what was necessary and left the rest behind.
So what are these Zero files about, sir? I guess they got something worth stealing in them, huh?
Not particularly. It's just a collection of court cases. However, the cases within these files are not mine.
Huh?
They belong to the high prosecutor that used to occupy my current office. I have my reasons, but let's just say I was charged with keeping them as they were.
Then, that means the thief must have also wanted the file for a specific reason, right?
It would seem so. Only the pages related to the case from 10 years ago are missing.
I wonder why anyone would care about such an old case.
See, guys? Plot development. We're getting plot. Plot that is totally irrelevant later, but for now we're gonna be confused. I'm sorry, I like singing this. Alright. But anyway, we're going to ourselves up and let's talk to you, Miss Bride. I was wondering if I may speak to you a bit concerning this case. I've always been a big fan of the courtroom, but this is like a dream where I'm being cross-examined by the Miles Edgeworth. I can't let this chance pass me by. I must remember to ask her about the master key. I should jog her memory by showing my notes to her through the present button. First, we're going to talk about her lovely two-year discussion tests. Have you ever met the victim before? Well, I've seen him a couple of times before when I had to go to Mr. Portman's office. Mr. Fake was always playing basketball with Mr. Portman, sir.
That sounds like fun!
I apologize, guys. That was my phone again.
That sounds like fun! Just once I'd have loved to play with them.
It sounds fun. The only person ever taking the shot was Mr. Portsman. All Mr. Fake ever did was passing the ball, sir.
On second thought, I don't think I'd have fit in with all that well with them.
Miss Maggie Bride, correct? I take it you are an acquaintance of the detective?
She was under my supervision back when she was still in the force, sir. One day she got caught up in a murder and things started to go downhill, so she quit.
But I owe a lot to Detective Gumshoe for introducing me to my current employer. Or, so I thought until a few hours ago. Right before I was about to clock out for the night. You got caught up in this whirlwind of case, correct? Don't worry, my whole life has been nothing but a whirlwind of bad luck and failures. ... Since I was 6 months old when I fell from the 9th floor of my apartment building, I've been hit by all sorts of vehicles, gotten sick from all sorts of foods, failed at almost every test I've taken, experienced almost every kind of disaster, and now I even managed to be named a criminal, just when I've become a security guard. Your life is crap! That's a lot to go through in one lifetime. I know! And just when I thought I finally found my happiness, I wind up getting you and Detective Gumshoe involved in my bad luck. You don't need to worry about me, Miss Bride, nor do you need to worry about yourself. I will solve this case and prove your innocence. All that I ask in return is your cooperation. Yes, sir, Mr. Edgeworth, you can count on me. I'll do all I can to help. And now we're going to do what Edgeworth told me to do at the beginning of this. And we're gonna pretend her with the master key. No. So, when did you discover that the master key was missing? At the time I realized it, I think it was around 1 a.m., sir. And I noticed it was back around 2:30 a.m. It was just sitting there on the ledge where the security room reception's window would be. Is. That would be is. But I'm sure that's between those two times that it was stolen. Not just gone, but stolen, sir. Why is such an important key stored in such an insecure place? It's not like that, sir. We always keep the key further inside the room, away from the window. Always, you say, except for this time, correct? Well, I admit that I was a bit careless, but I had my reasons. I left it out because I was sort of using it at the time. It was after I had just used it that I left it sitting on the ledge. She used the master key. That is lovely piece of information I needed to know. What did you mean by you used the master key? Oh, I had to use it to open the door for this prosecutor who had forgotten his key. I mean, it's my job as a security guard, right? ... What is it? That's right, I just remembered. The prosecutor who forgot his key? It was Mr. Portsman, sir. What? Please tell me more, Miss Bride, quickly. I like to know about forget from Mr. Portsman. It was around midnight? I don't want to say 12 a.m. That sounds awkward. Midnight. Mr. Portsman had forgotten his office key, so he came to security, sir. And that's when you loaned the master key.
No way! It's against regulations to loan the master key out to anyone.
I walked with Mr. Portsman to his office and opened the door for him personally, sir. I see.
And then what? What happened after that?
Well, he called for me to come and close up his office as he was leaving to go home. That was around 1:30 a.m., I think. So, in summary, for the sake of one forgetful prosecutor, you used the master key twice around. Oh, we have contradictions in her testimony.
Talk about suspicious.
I doubt you can say that you've never left your keys at home, detective. I think this calls for a thorough examination of Mr. Portsman's door. You're gonna use that? No! Not mean to do.
Yes, sir.
Yep, we're gonna go back. Miss Bride, I'm afraid there is a flaw in your story.
What?
No way, pal. I mean, sir. You said that you locked up Mr. Portman's office around 1:30 a.m., correct? However, the master key was already stolen at that time. Wow, nothing gets by you, Mr. Edgeworth. You saw that contradiction like a pro. I'm a prosecutor. I damn well sure should see a contradiction like a pro. Otherwise, I'm in the wrong profession here. I totally forgot all about that, but thanks to you, I remember now. You're right, it was around that very time that I realized the master key was missing. And, well, I'm a security guard, sir. I couldn't just admit to losing the master key, could I? So I pretended to lock up his room, sir. You pretended? Yeah, I used my house key and made it look like I was locking up, sir. So, in actuality, you never really locked the door, then? Well, I thought that maybe I could go lock it after I found the key. Come to think of it, I guess the door still hasn't been locked properly. Tidbit of information. Now let us go to the door. Examine the door. We all want to examine the door. The door is locked tight.
I bet a little credit card trick wouldn't work here, huh, Mr. Edgeworth?
This is the office of a high prosecutor, detective. These doors would be pretty ineffective if the average cat burglar could get through them.
So I guess only a great cat burglar could get in. This must be who our culprit is.
Might I advise you return that conclusion to whatever pawn shop you bought it from? We're gonna deduce here. Is this spot connected to any of the evidence I hold? Yes. Guess what?
It's locked!
It's not supposed to be locked. There's a contradiction here between reality and the evidence. If what Miss Bride has said is true, then why is this door locked tightly?
You know, you're right!
Miss Bride, are you sure you didn't relock this door? I am certain of it, sir. And I don't think Mr. Portsman noticed himself that I hadn't.
Which means what, sir?
It either means that he actually does have the key to his office, or that the door Miss Bride opened wasn't this one at all, but a completely different one.
She opened a different door? But how can you prove that?
There is an easy way to find out. All we need to do is, we need to examine these. Well, obviously it's going to be the prints on the doorknob, because if her prints aren't there, then she had to have opened a different door. So, boom! The prints on the doorknob will tell us everything.
Hey, you, pal, do us a favor and see what you can lift from this, okay? So, what'd you find out?
There's no need for such belligerent nostril flaring, detective. I love you, Edgeworth! way you say stuff is just hilarious sometimes. Sir! I found only Mr. Portsman and Mr. Faith's prints on this doorknob. So, only 2 people's prints were found on this time. That's pretty decisive.
Huh? I'm lost, sir.
Thinking logically, a certain other person's print should be on the knob as well. Now then, whose print should also be on this doorknob? It's obviously Miss Bride. Don't you find it odd that the prints of the person who unlocked this door are absent?
You mean...
Yes, the door that Miss Bride opened could not have been this one, but a different one. We update the information. Blobbity blobbity blobbity. What have we here? I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. What is this?
Looks like a scrap of paper. I'll get it, sir.
Sorry, guys. I just adjusted the volume. Let me know if you can't hear it or if I was okay before. It sounded a bit loud to me when I was talking softer.
Let's see. Oh, there's something written on it.
I brought 3 pieces of evidence by, just like we talked about on the phone. But it looks like you're out. Guess I'll catch you later, buddy. It looks like a note from the victim.
Yeah, and it's from Mr. Portsman.
Then we'll look over at this lovely basketball.
What are you looking at, sir? Oh, hey, how about a game?
That's okay, Detective. I just found the position of this hoop to be a little off.
Hey, you're right, sir. I guess it shifted when someone made a seriously sweet slam dunk.
The positioning of the hoop is definitely unnatural. I'd better take note of this. Jot it down in the organizer. Then we'll head back. Now let's examine my door. I won't rest until I've inspected every suspicious nook and cranny. Edgeworth, I don't need you to repeat that. I don't see any signs of forced entry.
And according to the guard, no signs that the lock was picked either.
Meaning that the door really was opened with a key. Did you happen to ask if any prints were lifted from the doorknob? Apparently... Sorry, wrong character.
Apparently the doorknob's clean as a whistle. Wipe, they think.
Whoever this thief is, they did a good job of not leaving any clues behind. Dun dun dun! We found all the clues! Poking around in this hallway has actually paid off quite handsomely.
How so, sir?
In a variety of different ways. I think it's time we had a little chat with the real culprit of this case. You know who the killer is? Wow, Mr. Edgeworth. As long as my logic is sound, then yes. The mastermind behind this murder is none other than Mr. Portsman. Like we didn't know that from the very beginning that he was the mastermind. What? Mr. Portsman? Okay, why is that not working?
I knew it! That's exactly what my logic senses were telling me too. I suspected it was him from the instant he accused Maggie of being the killer, sir.
That is anything but logical. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourselves. Come what may, it's time to knock on truth's door. You have all the best lines, Edgeworth! Why do you have all these awesome lines? And now we're going to see how a bad prosecutor handles his evidence.
Mr. Portsman, I finished processing the bloody letter, sir. Alright! Let me take a gander at it and pass it here.
See? Bad evidence handling.
Okay, looking good. You there, take good care of this.
Sorry.
Wow! Well, if it isn't Detective Gumshoe. End of the line for you, Portsman. We got you now. Call off your dog, Edgeworth. Is this some kind of joke?
It's no joke. We know, Mr. Jacques Portsman, that you are the guilty party in this case.
You must be pretty upset being chased out of your own room. I'd be mad too. So I guess you can say, stay if you promise to stay out of our way.
You intend to hide your crime under the guise of a prosecutor doing his job. I can see right through the unsightly paper-thin mask you wear upon your cowl.
Who'd have ever thought it would come to this? Actually, come to think of it, your mentor's Manfred von Karma, right?
Oh no, you did not go there, dude! You are gonna get beat down now for going there.
The legendary prosecutor who never lost a single case for 40 long years. But there was always this incessant chatter about forged evidence with that guy. ...
You are going down! Oh, you do not bring Von Karma into this.
Really? Teaches me that I've got to stay on the lookout for false accusations, you know.
Are you done trying to play mind games with me because they won't work? The only thing you should be using that mouth of yours for now is explaining yourself. Although, that too will only dig your hole deeper. Either way, your game is up. Your game is so up, dude! I'm gonna pound you!
Well, aren't we full of ourselves, even though you have yet to prove anything?
Dun dun dun!
I have no idea what sort of harebrained idea you have in mind, but there's a mountain of evidence that points away from me being the culprit. Besides, how may I ask, do you propose I unlocked your door and got in here? Look, I feel bad doing this to you, but I've got work to do, so we're done here.
Oh yeah, I'm cross-examining you, pansy little... Oh, I'm gonna break you. Sorry, but we are not finished yet.
Boy, you're stubborn. I suppose you're basing your accusations on something?
I'll show you what I'm basing my accusations on, with evidence. Press! Hold it! It's not letting me do that. Okay. It really does not want me to do press. Unfortunately, I believe I have already shown how earlier.
Your speculation means nothing, as I still insist I could not have gained access to your room.
What should I do now? Should I raise an objection? Well, obviously we're gonna raise an objection! You claim to have no way to open my door. However, is that really the honest truth?
Alright, I'll humor you. Go ahead, shoot!
Very well, then. I propose that you use this to open my door. You use the master key through Maggie Bride.
Take that!
I believe you were able to open my office door with the master key, no less.
Objection!
Wait. Hold on for a second. I never laid a finger on that key, as you already know.
Precisely. You were able to open my door without lifting a single finger. Well, maybe you did, but only to direct. Dots. Look, he's sweating! He knows we figured it out! That's right. You used your finger to direct this person to open my door with the key.
Take that!
You had asked Miss Bride to open your own office door for you, yes?
Yeah? I kind of forgot my key at home. Happens a bit too often for my taste, you know.
But the room you had Miss Bride open at that time was not your own, was it?
Ha ha ha! What? You have quite the imagination. But why don't we ask the girl herself whose door she opened, shall we?
I'm certain that it was Mr. Portsman's door, sir. I checked the number plate to make sure I was opening the right door, sir.
See? Miss Bride backs up my story.
Yet, when you had misled her to fool her into thinking what you wanted...
Ha! And how do you suppose I did that?
By switching the number plates on our doors, for example?
That's right, they do slide out pretty easily.
Furthermore, you used one other thing to give a very strong impression. That the door she was opening was yours, and not in fact mine. What was it that Mr. Portsman used to make Miss Bride think that it was his room?
The basketball hoop, damn it!
What? The basketball hoop, sir? It's quite the particular fixture in any hallway, let alone a hallway in this building, which is why it left an unusually strong impression on you. It is an object perfectly suited to sit just outside the office of a particular prosecutor.
Ah!
That's very true, sir. Because there was a basketball hoop sitting there, I thought the doorway I was opening had to be Mr. Portsman's. There are signs that the hoop has been moved. To sit in front of my office, to be sure.
I see. So that's how you throw suspicion on people. Thanks for the tip.
Oh, you are so going to be dead after this, dude.
But I think your conjecture is a little off the racetrack.
Uh-huh, bring it. Bring it.
Now you're just spouting nonsense. I had the girl open my office door. After that, I was in my room the entire time. You don't have a single reason to suspect me.
I have a lot of reasons to suspect you. So he intends to claim his innocence to the end, does he? I love Edgeworth, like little finger tapping. It's like, I understand your situation, but you are a moron. I love it.
As I'm pure and innocent as my jacket, and Miss Bride is as dirty and guilty as the jacket she wears.
My jacket's not dirty. I'll have you know, I just washed it yesterday. Please calm down, for I intend to show who is the truly covered in slime here. I love Edgeworth. You have the best lines in this game. Okay. So. That's what you need to do. Okay. I'm sorry, dude. Why wouldn't you have noticed a note left by your lovely victim?
Objection!
I also love the head points. Edgeworth, you're beautiful. That was a lie.
What are you talking about? How is that a lie?
This is a note that the victim left for you, Mr. Portsman.
A note?
It was left under your door, or did you not notice? And right here it says, but you're out. ... You were not at your room when the victim came to call on you. So then, where were you and what were you doing? Ah! Shall I explain in full detail for you? You were busy snooping around in my room, the very room you had Miss Bride open for you.
That's just nonsense. If you have no evidence that I made the girl open your door for me.
Oh, but I do. I have very decisive evidence.
No way!
This is the proof positive that you had Miss Bride open the door for you. Oh, it's his office. That's why I have my suspicions. I had your door dusted for prints.
My door? Huh? What for? Come on, I bet you didn't find anything. You sure are good at wasting time.
You're right, I didn't find anything. And definitely not Miss Bride's fingerprints.
Her prints? What do they have to do with anything?
Let's put it this way. If she really was the one who opened your door, then her print should naturally be on the doorknob she touched.
Oh yeah, I overthought you! You definitely are not good at this game, buddy. Further, all the prints on my office doorknob have been wiped clean. I can only assume it's because Miss Bride's fingerprints were on it. Don't you think it's time you gave up your charade? We know you stole into my office with the intent to steal something from me. And Detective Faith found you out. Possibly because he heard sounds coming from a room whose occupant was on move. Mr. Portsman, you killed Mr. Faith to silence him. And I had the misfortune to return when I did. You threatened me as you escaped. This is where it's gonna bite us in the butt, because I know that's not him. That's why they're keeping the face in shadows. As I said when you had the gun to my back, no one gets away with committing murder in my office. Dot dot dots. See? This is just proof he was not that mysterious guy. And just what's so funny, pal? Well, it looks that stiff seriousness off the face of the office's finest prosecutor, as he makes a huge mistake in accusing me simply too much to bear. There's just nothing else like it in the world. What? Mr. Edgeworth just explained it all, and he even backed it up. You're the murderer. Stop trying to be slippery and just admit the crime already. And as I said earlier, it's also circumstantial, so full of conjecture. You said you checked my doorknob for prints. Well, I can readily confess I had wiped that knob down well. Eh? I'm a little obsessive-compulsive, you see. I didn't want to touch a doorknob that you had touched, which is why I wiped the knob down as soon as I could after you opened the door. After that, it makes perfect sense that only Jim's and my own prints would be there. You just made that up now, didn't you? Furthermore, as the note Jim left me, you do know exactly what that was. For all we know, he could have left it there before I arrived at the office. Like early evening, for example. Are you saying you failed to notice a note in your doorway? Hey, even genius fails sometimes. I was probably too preoccupied by work-related matters, although that's no excuse. Now, that's just a flat-out lie. There's no way you didn't notice a note that size. But you can't prove that, can you? Dot, dot, dot. Say something, Mr. Edgeworth. Back me up here. Portsman makes a good point. I can't prove he didn't simply overlook it. Besides, I have an airtight alibi. Airtight, you say? I only realized that I had one just now as we were talking. I guess it would have been better for all of us if I had told you sooner. I'm gonna break your alibi! If memory serves, you came back to this office around 2 a.m., correct? And if it was then you had that unfortunate confrontation at gunpoint with the culprit. But at exactly that time, I was down at Criminal Affairs. Ask around, I'm sure the other detectives will collaborate on the story. It's the perfect alibi. Do you really think that it's that perfect? Like I said, I don't care. Ask around for all you like. You'll see yourself. Dot, dot, dot. Detective Gumshoe. Sir, yes, sir. I'll go check his alibi, sir, and be right back. Mr. Edgeworth, sir, I think we're in trouble. It's just like Mr. Portsman said. The guys down at Criminal Affairs said they saw him around 2 a.m. You see? Dot, dot, dots. All of the evidence points to him being the culprit. So there must be some contradictory point in his alibi somewhere.
Hold it!
You are correct. It was around 2 a.m. Are you sure? It's really important to me that you're spot on with the time. I remember checking my watch then, and make no mistake, it was 2. Ooh, giving testimony like a pro. Okay, you came back to your office at 2.
Hold it!
It was as you say, however.
Yes, however, you were the only one who claims to have bumped into the culprit. So tell me, did you see the person's face? Was it me who you saw? ...
It was pitch black, so I couldn't actually see.
Objection!
Oh, come now, I'm pretty sure you saw something. Try a little harder, why don't you?
I'm beginning to feel like I'm the one being interrogated here.
Oh well, it doesn't matter if you remember or not. It only matters that you ran into the culprit.
Hold it!
So you paid the Criminal Affairs Department a visit.
Yep, right after I left the prosecutor's building, I head straight for the pendant.
Hold it!
Well, we did go and ask around to confirm your testimony.
And it's just as I said, right? Yes, sir. A number of detectives said they saw you at around that time. See? I have the perfect alibi. That's the ace I had up my sleeve. Gag!
Impossible. He actually does have the perfect alibi.
What's wrong? Why the sudden sullen look on your face? Can't you say anything back, Mr. Edgeworth? I think we've reached the end of the line, and it's time to get off this crazy train. You there! Sir! Please escort the young lady out, but remember to be gentle. Maggie! Detective Gumshoe!
Is there nothing I can do? There must be some way to turn this situation around. If I only had a clue, did I miss something that can help me cast doubt on his alibi? I need to calmly think this through one more time, and with logic. There were 2 bullets left at the scene of the crime. One that robbed Mr. Faith of his life, and one that nearly robbed me of my jacket. However, the murder weapon only shows signs of being fired once, meaning that it is entirely possible that a second gun was used in my office tonight. But seeing as how the killer had to steal Mr. Faith's gun, I doubt the killer had another gun up their sleeve. Therefore, the second gun could have been the property of an entirely different person, which could mean that there was another person who paid a visit to my office tonight. Supposing there was yet another visitor tonight, that would also resolve the issue of why my shelves were upended twice. We know that the shelves were disturbed once before and once after the murder, so it shouldn't be much of a stretch to think that it was the work of 2 different people. Once by the person who stole the victim's gun and killed him with it, and once again after the murder by our second culprit, who was the owner of the second gun. If we suppose that the second culprit's gun was the one that was pointed at my back.
Objection!
Mr. Portsman, it seems that I need to amend my assumptions regarding this case.
Great, so you finally come to your senses.
Mr. Edgeworth!
Sir, what are you saying?
This has been a big misunderstanding on my part from the start. I had assumed that the person I ran into was the killer, but that may not be the case.
What do you mean?
The person I ran into was just your average thief.
A thief? But sir, doesn't that cause some sort of contradiction in the facts?
Not at all. It simply means that the killer was someone else. And it means that in actuality, 2 culprits stole into my office tonight.
What do you mean, 2?
It explains both why my shelves were disturbed twice and how there were 2 guns. Mr. Portsman tricked Miss Bride into gaining entrance into my office.
Objection!
Now you're just leading the argument. You still don't have any actual proof, you know.
If you could please go along with my hypothetical scenario for now, Mr. Portsman. In the end, if you really are innocent, you should have nothing to worry about.
Grrr.
Now then, returning to my scenario, Mr. Portsman was out to steal something from me, which was why he checked my secret safe and ransacked my shelves. This is the first time.
So then, this would be when the files were put back in the wrong order, right?
Correct. And then, just when he was about to look somewhere else, who should walk in but his own partner, Mr. Faith?
But why didn't Mr. Faith come into your room, sir?
He probably had business with Mr. Portsman, which is why he was in the area. But then when he noticed sounds coming from my office, would be my guess. Oh, because he knew you were supposed to be away, right?
And he must have thought it was odd, so he came into this office to check it out.
Correct. And as a detective, that was the right thing to do. But when he came in, he found his own partner standing there. Because it was Mr. Portsman, Mr. Faith probably let his guard down. But Mr. Portsman was not as merciful as to let him leave alive. He waited for the chance and stole Mr. Faith's gun from him, and then he killed him. He silenced Mr. Faith for catching him in the act of stealing. This was the moment in which the first shot was fired and the one that landed in my files. Following that, Mr. Portsman wiped the gun down and left it behind as he made his exit. He could afford to do that because he had also left a fake dying message behind.
You're such a complicated troublemaker, you know that?
Well, if things were as simple as that, then all would be solved. However, there was yet another visitor to my room. This is where it gets complicated.
There was another visitor, sir?
Yes, and this other person's objective was also to steal something from me. Now then, even after Mr. Portsman left, the door to my office remained unlocked. However, this new visitor had no way of knowing that, and so they stole the master key from the security guard's room, and then entered my room and searched through my shelves. This is where the second time they were disturbed, and it seems the thief found their prize.
The stolen zero file, sir?
Correct. Only just as the thief was about to leave with the file, I appeared. The thief then threatened me with their own gun and made their escape. The second bullet was fired during that brief encounter.
So, the shelves get messed up twice and 2 bullets. It was all because 2 different people were doing these things at 2 different times.
Precisely. So now do you see, Mr. Portsman? The person I met was just a thief. It was not, in fact, Mr. Faith's killer. Your alibi for the time frame in which I ran into the other person is now irrelevant. Because we now know that the murder took place during the first culprit's visit.
Objection!
What's so funny, pal? Absolutely splendid. Your scenario solves everything. Of course it does. It's Mr. Edgeworth, after all. But you know, it still doesn't change the fact that it's all circumstantial. Supposing if, and that's a big if, your theory is right, it would indeed render my alibi, which has withstood scrutiny, mind you, irrelevant. But there is still one deafening point to your argument, which you have no evidence. You're supposing that I was the first visitor? Grr. Mr. Edgeworth, you can't let him get away with that, sir.
But he has a point. I have absolutely no proof at this point. Don't say that, sir.
I don't believe this. Don't worry, Maggie. I'll do something if I must.
You know something? I find your attitude to be somewhat particular, Mr. Edgeworth.
If the person you met really was just a plain old thief, then why is that person not your main suspect? That is, if your theory is correct. That thief you ran into should be your real suspect, wouldn't you say? We should be out there looking for that thief right now. They might still be nearby. I hate to repeat myself, but I have already said I was training in my room. And when Jim came to deliver some evidence to me, I was down at Criminal Affairs. So I can't be expected to know what happened around here after I left.
So, you think that we should be out there looking for the thief?
Of course! Now isn't the time to be wasting on dead-end decisions.
I don't think that it's dead-ended at all. I find your alibi to be fascinating. Let's continue where we left off, shall we? Ha ha ha, he does not like that. I know he's lying. I know he was here at the scene of the crime. I just had to find a way to prove it. Battle. Alright, let's get that here we go.
Hold it.
Why didn't you go there with Mr. Faith? Mr. Faith?
Ah, that's because he said he was tired and was going to take a quick nap. You know those sofas in the hallway? He likes to sleep on those. It's one of his habits.
And what of the evidence he brought?
They were things related to yesterday's case. Just 2 items, a gun and a pendant.
Interesting. This piece of testimony seems too crucial to let slip through the cracks. Yep, you are gonna get trumped by the note the victim left.
Objection.
Only 2 pieces? I believe the proper phrase here is, you fail.
Excuse me?
You fail as a prosecutor, Mr. Portsman, as you intend to keep evidence hidden from you.
What are you talking about? I haven't hidden anything from you.
Well, here's a piece I think you should read carefully. Ah, it says Mr. Faith was bringing 3 pieces. Yes, and this is the victim's real dying message to you, Mr. Portsman.
I can't believe it. I got tripped up by simple arithmetic.
Where is the missing piece of evidence? You have it, don't you? Only the guilty would make such a face. Detective Gumshoe.
You don't have to say it, sir. I'll pat the guy down from head to toe. Well, don't you come any closer, I'm warning you. This is all part of the investigation, pal. Don't even think of about stopping me. No! Hey, what's this? He had this on him, sir.
Despite what you said, it would appear that you do have something to hide.
But why would he hide something like that?
There's only one reason why anyone would hide evidence of this caliber. Because it would unequivocally point to that person themselves as the real killer. Let's examine this videotape a little more detail. For the section of the tape that would drive the last nail into his coffin.
Ah! That's blood, isn't it?
Yes, and I believe this is what the good prosecutor was trying to hide from us. This blood is still fresh.
You mean this might be Detective Faith's blood? No, you got it all wrong.
No amount of denial can save you. We have but to run a blood test to find the truth. You told us that you had received evidence from the victim earlier. Now you will tell us when and how did the victim's blood find its way onto this video. Yeah, it's totally suspicious. Was it at the moment of his death? Did Detective Faith have this videotape on his personage when he killed him?
You know very well that there's no way to prove that.
Not even if we were to examine the tape for fingerprint? If I had to take a guess, I'd say that the only ones on here would belong to the murderous you and Mr. Faith.
No, impossible!
I don't think gold is something you should eat.
Mr. Portsman has been placed under arrest for the murder of Detective Buddy Faith, sir.
Very good.
And the results we got back from the lab techs on the tape turned out to be real solid, sir. The blood work came back and it was definitely Mr. Faith's blood on there. And as a bonus, they were also able to lift a few of Mr. Faith's fingerprints as well.
Thank you so much, Mr. Edgeworth. I still can't believe I got to see your cool deduction skills outside of the court. I'm impressed beyond words, sir. It was nothing. I'm just sorry you got caught up in the murder in my office. Please accept my apologies. Oh, it was nothing, really, compared to what I've been through, I mean. I consider myself lucky that it was only burglary and murder this time, sir. If it had been a hold-up or a hostage situation, I'd have thrown my hands up in the air. But I think I'm finally rising from a title of goddess of misfortune to just an unlucky person. Something tells me we should have hired a different person for security detail.
You know something, sir? Mr. Portsman really was one corrupt prosecutor.
And why would you say that he was corrupt?
Well, I heard that there were a number of suspicious things related to his court cases. There was even rumors about how some of the evidence he uses is forged, sir.
Forged evidence, huh?
And they say he even decided not to prosecute a few cases for some very vague reasons.
Oh, that guy is a complete disgrace to the entire profession. We never did get around to asking what his reason was for breaking into my office.
Yeah, whenever we got near the topic, he just clammed up.
Although we can be pretty certain that it was to steal something.
This is just between you and me, sir, but there's a rumor that some sort of huge organization is involved behind the scenes.
Oh, well, well. With Mr. Portsman not willing to divulge anything, it certainly leads credence to that rumor. It would seem that we haven't heard the last of this.
Huh? That Mr. Portsman isn't the bad guy?
I didn't say that, but rather that there are still many more mysteries for us to solve. For example, we still haven't figured out the significance to this piece of evidence.
Take that!
The person who stole this file, the other villain of the night.
Yeah, I wonder who it was.
And what happened to the stolen pages? I wonder, who in the world was it that held me up at gunpoint?
Mr. Edgeworth, sir!
Yes.
I came across this while I was processing your office earlier, sir.
This card.
What is it, sir? Is that a bird or something on there?
It's not just any bird. It is the mark of a raven, a three-legged raven. Even you should know what this is, detective.
Oh, it's about that thing, isn't it? The great thief everyone's talking about.
Yes, it is the mark of the great thief, Yatagarasu. Under the mark of the legendary bird, the Yatagarasu is noble to the end, a modern Robin Hood. Labeled mysterious and phantom-like, the Yatagarasu appears and vanishes at will. Though we don't know much about the thief's ultimate goal, we do know the targets. The Yatagarasu likes to find and make public evidence of corrupt dealings of all sorts. The theft is always performed in silence and always with perfection. Once a target is chosen, no dramatic calling cards or announcements is sent forth. Instead, the chosen corporation is infiltrated without even the target noticing. Some days later, the evidence that is found is sent out to the mass media, along with this single card. Although it has been a while since the Yatagara's last appearance.
Hey, Mr. Edgeworth, look it! Something's written on the back!
What? Let me see.
It's the location of where the thief put the stolen files!
So, the person who stole the contents of the file was the Yatagarasu. Yatagarasu. Organization. Quite a few keywords are popping up in this mystery. The murder in my office. The return of the great thief Yatagarasu. Looking back, I can't say I didn't see these events coming, for they were heralded by the incidents that began to occur 2 days ago. And that's chapter. I hope to catch you all next time, so catch you on the flip side, guys.